Hi, I'm Caden, here with my brother,
Cal,
and you're listening to Eating W's.
eat the W.
That's a W. Let's eat one. Let's eat one. That's a W.
So, on today's episode of Eating W's, we have our NFL Week 17 recap. It was a pretty exciting week overall.
Very exciting week of football.
And before we jump in, just want to give a quick warning that I've had a little bit of a cough going on, and I went on a run this morning, so there's a small chance I spend half this episode coughing. So I'm just going to hope that doesn't happen, but it's a possibility. But now just
Right on
now
cue.
we'll just jump
Right on
straight
cue.
into our picks. There we go. That was fun. This is going to be a grand time. So first up, we have the Rams, who went to Baltimore to take on the Ravens and picked up a win. But was it really a win? Because the Rams did not look good. Stafford continued to throw more interceptions. They were going up against that beat-up Rams team, which, don't get me wrong, is a good team. Played well against the Packers.
Beat up Ravens team.
Or yeah,
You
beat
said you
the beat-up
misspoke.
Ravens team. And don't get me wrong, they're not a bad team. They almost beat the Packers. They beat the Vikings. They're still a good team, but they're just missing way too many pieces for this Super Bowl or bust team like the Rams to only win by one
And
point.
Tyler Huntley, not that bad.
Not too bad at all.
I think they got a good one there. That if they want to keep both Lamar and him, because they didn't really seem to miss a step offensively. I think it was just more that they're missing so many players.
I think if they have
it's
Lamar,
finally catching up to them.
I think if they have Lamar, they're probably 1 to 2 points better and maybe pick up a win there. But that's still pretty good against that defense to even come that close. But
It's just Lamar light.
Lamar light, that's a good.
He's
way
even
to play
like
it.
skinny. He's even like a little bit smaller than Lamar too.
That's funny. If only either of them could get that throwing motion down consistently.
Yeah.
That'd be
Baltimore's
really
got a
scary
lot of
team.
running backs, you know.
They do. The running back depth chart is just, they need like 3 lines for it. It's crazy. But overall, it was a good pickup, good win by the
I thought the Rams were winning most of that game. The Ravens were winning most of that game.
Oh, yeah.
Like I didn't, I just saw it on Red Zone, so I was just doing the cutbacks, but I did not realize the Ravens were winning that game through most of it.
They were down until who else but Odell Beckham Jr. with the game-winning touchdown, which is just hilarious to hear at this point. But it's going to be funny to watch his ego get overinflated. He'll probably pull an Antonio Brown, but we'll get back to that later. So next up, we had probably matchup of the week, in my opinion, with the Chiefs heading to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. And the Bengals picking up a win and a pretty big upset.
Did not disappoint. Burrow and Jamar Chase are the new Mahomes and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I don't.
Which was ironic because Mahomes and Tyreek Hill could just have lost their connection. I don't know.
I know. I noticed that they didn't have a great game.
Tyreek has career highs of drops. He's overshooting Tyreek or underthrowing him. I don't know. It seems like their chemistry's off for whatever reason.
I totally agree. I mean, I don't even think the Chiefs tried to guard Jamar Chase. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen.
They did try. It just it looked like they didn't.
At first he was just wide open almost every play. His first touchdown was such a nice move, and he just ran up the middle and no one could catch him. And then towards the end there, it was just Burrow to Chase on back shoulder fades. Like they were in practice.
They had
it
Jarvis Ward and Rashard Fenton on him, and I don't know. I think he just out athletic them. He's so athletic. He was just able to use his ability and his talent to overpower him and win all those jump ball matchups.
Yeah.
Or just the catching matchup. Maybe not jump balls, but just the contested throws and all that, contested catches.
Yeah, but then even with all those yards and touchdowns, it's still a close game late with a good team like the Chiefs. And I like Zach Taylor, but what was that ending? Why do you go for it there?
Go for it? I think
it worked out great for him.
It's a very rare scenario where I agree with that call.
Really?
I mean, 9 out of 10, I'd kick that field goal. But you're kicking a field goal. If you kick the field goal and they don't just try to run it and get the touchdown, they're giving Mahomes like 50 seconds to go down there and kick a field goal.
It was about 50. I think it was 48.
Yeah.
But the thing was, field goal ties it and puts it into overtime anyway.
Right.
They had no timeouts was the big thing for me.
Yeah, I've seen Rodgers do it with 37 seconds and no timeouts.
Yeah, I know,
So,
but
they're just that kind of team.
You
don't. They're that powerful. I know. I've said the Chiefs bad team, all that. Look, when you come, they might have played bad this year, but they still got the talent. They still have the firepower, and as far as I know, Mahomes is still one of the top quarterbacks until he continuously declines. But even with a down year, he's still one of the top quarterbacks. I wouldn't have given him the ball. I wouldn't have. I know it's crazy that they're that Brady, Mahomes, Rodgers wouldn't have given him the ball. I get it. It's that one rare scenario where I think that was the right call. And for whatever reason, the refs hate the Chiefs. So, I mean, they just bailed them out
I was going to say, I don't see why they did it, because they totally didn't get it and then got bailed out by the offsetting penalties. And then I think they probably got it on the next one, but it would have been up to the ref.
One of my sources told me that Rashad Fenton or Charvis Ward, one of the Chiefs' corners, early in the game, chewed out the referee like hardcore and was just dogging him all game.
Really?
Which, you do that, the refs are gonna be ticky-tacky with you.
That's what they get then. That's funny.
So that's why the refs hate the Chiefs.
No, but on that second one, I
agree
it was probably a hands to the face, but not really bailed out, I'm going to say, by penalties, but definitely helped by them, and it worked out perfectly in their favor.
Well,
but
the Chiefs were up 14 twice.
Yeah.
I mean, they had chances to put it away. You can't sit there and be like, oh, the refs gave it to them. No, bullshit.
Oh,
You're up by 14
not.
2 different occasions. You gave it to them. Kansas City.
That's
what bad teams do.
That's going to be a scary team here in a few years.
Yeah, I know.
Bengals
team. The Bengals? Oh, yeah. No, the Bengals I'm terrified of.
Yeah, the Bengals
If the Bengals can get an offensive line, it's
going to be scary.
Macaulay Culkin back there.
But moving on from one really good game to the next. Next up, we have the Raiders, who went to Indianapolis and picked up a win versus the Colts in pretty entertaining fashion. I mean, last-second field goal. Daniel Carlson's just automatic on those.
Yep.
Sure wish he could have been against...
Daniel Carlson's been a really good kicker for a long time.
Sure wish he could have been automatic on those.
You got to give credit to the team that drafted him and found that talent and drafted him. Because, I mean, I don't know. It was probably the Raiders, I'm sure. Who would get rid of a kicker with that much talent?
I think he went 0 for 2 on game-winning field goals with the Vikings, but I don't even know if
he's now been
one
perfect since
with
joining
Las
the Raiders.
Vegas, so that's always fun. But the Colts,
I'm surprised they lost this game, but then I'm also not surprised. I'm surprised because on paper the Colts were the way better team.
Oh, very much, yes.
But then we have to remember that we had the unfortunate passing of the longtime Raiders coach and announcing great John Madden, and so boom.
Tragedy game.
The Raiders win. So, of course, once that happened, I was like, oh, man, the Raiders are going to win tomorrow, aren't they? And they did.
Just like that. Bang. No chance.
No, it's not bang.
Colts.
It's boom.
That's
what John Madden does.
I never got to watch John Madden.
I know. That's crazy. You missed out on him.
But, yeah, I mean, that just sucks for the Colts. It really does, because we make jokes about the tragedy game thing, but it seems to be true.
To really be real. I mean,
they tried their hardest. Relatively bad game for Jonathan Taylor. I mean, 108 and a touchdown. It's funny to say that's a bad game, but
that's AP stats.
I was gonna say that's one of his worser games of the year, if we're being dead honest. So funny to say that.
Just barely breaking 100 yards is like, man, that was a bad game.
There's a chance this was the last game for T.Y. Hilton in Lucas Oil, and he caught that ridiculous luck touchdown.
Tipped Hail Mary pass.
I think he knew it was just going to drop to him. Because
he did kind of just stand there.
He steps up and gets ready to jump, and then he just stops, and he's like, it's going to drop right in my hands.
It's just awareness there to realize
sure as hell, bam, there. It fell right in his hands.
That'd be a great pickup for Green Bay.
I don't know. I think he's a little out of his prime, but he's definitely.
I know, but his route running is so good.
He's definitely still got some left in the tank.
And that's what Green Bay that's what they want in their receivers is crisp route runners.
Yeah, and Raiders kind of looked like they were probably out of the playoffs. They had to win both these next games to get in, and they picked up one tough game. Now they got.
I know. I thought the Colts
week.
Were going to eliminate them.
They got
now
a chance.
It's a win and in for the Raiders after everything they've been through. John Gruden going away. Henry Ruggs fucking up his life. Damon Arnett threatening
DUIs across the board.
Threatening people in DUIs.
Their new rookie guy.
They just got, literally
Hobbs.
after the win, 3 hours after victory in Indianapolis,
Hobbs.
But
I can't remember. Nate Hobbs. Yep.
Nate Hobbs, their rookie nickel corner, gets a DUI.
Rookie standout. He's
Again, what are you retards doing? You have so much money, so much celebrity and star power. Call me. I will drive to Indy and pick you up and take you to Vegas because I love football and I love seeing good football and I respect football players very much. Like, damn, dude, come on. Like, he was asleep at the wheel, getting on an on-ramp. I mean, just thank God he didn't kill anyone. We've already had that shit once already, so...
It's just poor young guys making dumb decisions.
Right, that's what I mean. Like, you know, I'm all for having fun. Just be responsible about it.
Exactly.
That's, you know, you can still have fun and be responsible.
But, nevertheless, Raiders are still alive in the playoffs. It was a good win by them. Next up, we had the Eagles, who went to Washington to take on the football team and picked up a needed win for the playoffs, clinched themselves a playoff spot. And man, Washington had a chance in that game, and then that last second throw by Heineke, it was so heartbreaking.
He had
so much heart. He was driving down the field to pick up the win, screw over his division rival,
knock him on the playoffs.
His tight end tripped. It just went right into that not right into that safety's hands, but great play by that safety to make the catch. But right to the safety.
Heineke looks more and more like Favre every week.
It was a very far.
What is that one game he had? He had 3 touchdowns and 3 picks, won the game, and it's like that is an epitome of a Favre game.
No, but Eagles are a good team. I think they really did earn their playoff spot. They're going to be really interesting.
They've done much better than I
seed.
thought they were going to do, especially with all the discombobulation of what to do at quarterback, how to run the ball. If Sirianni is that great of a play caller like he thinks he is, you know, and really the biggest fear for Philadelphia is the Washington Stadium. You know, that's their biggest risk right now. Is
Jalen Hurts almost got crushed.
He almost got killed.
Yeah.
By the stadium collapsing in on him.
One of the
side railings.
Yeah, one of the metal sidebars to hold the crowd
above the tunnels.
A bunch of people were leaning on it to try to give Hurts a high five, and it broke and almost fell right on him.
Landed on him and the cameraman. The like 8 or 10 or 12 people fell, and then most of them just got up and wanted selfies with Jalen Hurts.
Hurts just sat there.
I love that. I love how they jumped up and they were all just like, yeah! like we could be on the field. That wasn't our fault.
Hurts was just like, picture time,
yeah, he was just like, all right, I guess. Yeah, we just all almost died together. I guess we're close now, so...
No, but sure. They're going to be the Eagles are going to be a fun team to watch in that 6 or 7 seed. I'm really interested.
I still want them to play the Mississippi Mudflap. Get them in there for the playoff game.
They might as well throw them in for Week 18 now.
Oh,
that'd be fun to see.
It'd be a lot of fun to watch.
Might as well. Next up, we got the Cardinals, who went to Dallas to take on the Cowboys, and kind of a little bit of a fight for the number 1 seed until a later game that we'll get to. But the Cardinals pick up a pretty good win, to be honest.
A little bit of surprising win for
shocker to me. I thought
they were down
the
James Conner. They were being down DeAndre Hopkins. But you know, Kyler Murray, and he seems to be fully back from his was it foot or an ankle?
Something. Like
he had a foot injury of some kind, but he seems to be fully back from that. No lingering effects like he had the last couple of games. But yeah, Dallas just starting to look like they're dropping the ball.
Yeah, you know, this was a close game all the way through, and overall a pretty good game. But
close by score, but Arizona had it handled from the word go.
The thing that really surprised me is, to be honest, on both sides of the ball for both teams, for this being a matchup between the 2 and 3 seed, most likely or either way that falls, this was pretty sloppy football for 2 double-digit win teams. I mean, there was a lot of plays that I was just kind of baffled by. Just kind of had
Mike
to shake
McCarthy's
my head about
time management is still just hilarious. I mean, so first off, I mean, who was it that I can't remember who was running the ball? Chase Edmonds fumbled at the end of the game.
Oh, I agree.
But
they had no challenge.
They had no timeouts, so they couldn't challenge. And then they got the Arizona ran up there and quick snapped it right before the 2-minute warning. Because if it had hit the 2-minute warning, then it would have been a booth review.
Yep.
Which I'm almost surprised it wasn't, but because they called him down by contact,
that's just a heads up play on the Cardinals.
It was not reviewable, only challengeable is what I should say, not automatically reviewable. So, nor would a booth review be called down unless it got into the 2-minute warning, which Arizona quickly was smart enough to realize that and nullified that. But again, another great win for Arizona, and McCarthy is doing everything he can to prove me right that he's just not a very good coach. You know this is ending up to where McCarthy is going to Green Bay, either to go to the NFC title game or for the Super Bowl. Like, that's how this is going to go.
I can see it falling that way.
And yeah, if we lose to McCarthy and the Cowboys, I might have to quit because I won't be able to hear the end of it.
Nothing would make me.
I wouldn't even be that gloating. I wouldn't. A little. But I wouldn't all that much. It would just be good to know who was right. Rodgers or McCarthy. And I think that would decide it.
Yeah, definitely. No, but overall, I was really questioning those Cardinals for a little bit there when Kyler was just coming off his injury, because of course he's still getting back, but they've shown that they can still win big games, so good on them. Next up, we had last week's London game with the Panthers heading to New Orleans to take on the Saints, and Callan and I were talking about it, and they very much proved that it was the London game. This game was not entertaining to watch at all. Saints pick up a win. Not really a deserved win with the team they were going against, but a win's a win.
Carolina can't decide who to play at quarterback. Sam Darnold looks like he's back in New York.
Sam Darnold had a rough game.
Gosh. Were they playing Ian Book again? I mean, because, look.
Well, I mean, it was Taysom Hill, so
pretty much.
I
thought when they were playing Ian Book, I thought that the Saints were eliminated. They're actually not. They're the 8th seed right now, I believe. They're the only other team alive that's not in.
Yep.
So,
if San Francisco loses and New Orleans wins next week,
then New Orleans is in over San Francisco. I think I'd rather have New Orleans in. San Francisco scares me because, they've kicked the shit out of the Packers a number of times.
As I say, I'd rather have San Francisco in just because that's at least a matchup for the 2 seed. I mean, the 2 seed pretty much just gets a bye week if the Saints make it at this point. So.
Unfortunately, without Jameis Winston,
yeah,
it's just a team running with their backup quarterback. That just goes to show how good of a coach Sean Payton is.
Yeah,
the fact that he's able to have kept that team going without Michael Thomas, without Jameis Winston, without Drew Brees, without Kamara for part of the year.
It's nice to see teams still win on defense because that is what the Saints are doing. Their defense,
and they don't even have a whole lot of defensive superstars. I mean, they got Cameron Jordan.
Just good players.
Some say Marcus Williams, but boy, he makes a lot of follies. I mean, he does. I'm not trying to make fun of him. He does. He makes some whiffs, and it's just like, I don't know if you can be a superstar if you're whiffing sometimes. Maybe once or twice, but it seems like he has won a game where he's just too aggressive.
Yeah, but nevertheless, the Saints are still in the playoff race. So, next up, we got the Browns, who went to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. And the Steelers, in what is very likely to be Big Ben's last game at Heinz Field, pick up a win. So, I didn't get to watch a ton of this game, and it was the Monday night primetime game, but I was doing other stuff during it. I just kind of had it on the background.
I watched...
Seemed like a pretty good game, but...
It was. I watched most of it just because of that fact, knowing it was probably Roethlisberger's last game. Like, that's just, as a football fan, that's respect.
Yeah, I really like Roethlisberger.
I understand he did some things when he was younger that are not good. I'm not supporting them. He shouldn't have done them. They were wrong. He was young. He was a young, dumb kid. Motorcycle accidents and bathroom incidents. But he's gone a while without an incident.
Bathroom incident.
So, I think he matured from it. I still doesn't mean that what he did was right, but he matured and learned from it. And when you want to talk about just football, he is one of the best quarterbacks that I've seen in my generation, at least. Surefire Hall of Famer,
Agreed.
multi-time Super Bowl winner. He's been the heart of that city and franchise since 2004. I mean, that's just crazy. They named a cheeseburger after him. I don't even know if they still have the Brothless burger. I never got to try one. Always wanted to try one. So just mad respect to Ben Roethlisberger. He went out with a win,
Yep.
and that's one of the top ways to go out. Obviously, you want to go out on the very top, but it doesn't happen for everybody. And he's gotten to the top.
Yeah, and I mean, they, just like the Saints, are kind of surprisingly not eliminated from the playoffs. They need a win next week, and they need, I think, 2 teams to lose, and they're in. So.
They need Jacksonville to win.
Oh, yeah, they need Jacksonville to beat the Colts.
Which is basically like needing 2 teams to win.
Yeah, that's more like
you need Jacksonville to beat the Colts.
So.
But, hey,
there's still a chance,
happen.
so it's fun to see. There's been crazier
You're saying there's a chance.
Again, very sloppy game from what I saw from it, but Steelers.
Najee looked really good. Baker looks like bad, but I can't even judge that because of the injury.
So with Baker's injury, I know he has played very poorly these last few weeks, but one thing I did notice watching that game, and especially on the Browns' last drive towards the end, I love the competitive fire Baker brings to that team. Man, is that guy a competitor.
He got so mad after that last interception. And I don't know, something like that. Like, I guess people are like, oh, he's throwing a fit. No, it's because he knew he did something wrong, either in his mechanics or in his throw. It's, like, I bowl a lot, and I know when my follow-through is bad, I know right away, like, that's not going to be a strike. And I also know when I have a good one, and that's going to be a strike. So you can tell, and I think that's what it was. I think he knew his mechanic was bad or something, and he was just like, why, why did I do that, because he's so hard on himself because he wants to be the best.
No, I know
you gotta respect that.
There's a big debate going on right now on whether Baker is hurting or helping the Browns, and the Browns had a very disappointing season. I know right now it kind of seems like he's hurting them, but I really think as time goes on in the long run, he is going to help that team in the future. He just needs to, first of all, heal is the big thing.
I think once he gets healthy and he can have a healthy season, he'll look a lot better. I mean, people are judging him like he's 100%, and I don't even know if he's 75%.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that team in general isn't 100%.
Yeah, and the coaching was a little questionable. Why they constantly had Nick Chubb on the sideline, I don't know. I don't know what Stefanski was doing there. But I guess he likes the Dearness Johnson. I don't know.
Yeah, weird game all around, but Steelers pick up the win. And then finally, before we get to our quick kicks, we got the Falcons, who went to Buffalo to take on the Bills. And the Bills pick up a pretty obvious win, but a very needed win for them to get themselves a little better and for their playoff chances.
It was a little bit of an odd game. Atlanta had a 1-point lead at one point through the third quarter.
Yeah,
at half.
Went into half with a 1-point lead.
Yep, and
15-14.
Josh Allen did not play very good.
Josh Allen
had
went,
like 100 and some yards.
Full Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
awful game passing the ball, but I think he had like over 100 rushing and
he
2
did.
rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, and 3 picks.
And
so
3
yeah,
picks. So full Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, so apparently he channeled his inner Lamar while Lamar is out.
Yeah, all these people talking crap about Baker. I mean, get the regression from Josh Allen. I'm not saying he's bad by any means, but compared to what he did last year,
and
it's night
what
and
it
day.
is? His team's in the playoffs and winning. So it doesn't matter if you've regressed because you're still in the playoffs. Browns make the playoffs. No one's talking about Baker regressing. No one's talking about, will he be back? It's he will be back. All they had to do was make the playoffs. And I know that's easier said than done, but that's the difference right now between the Bills and Josh Allen and the Browns and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
It's one is in the playoffs and winning, one is out of it and losing.
Yep, so lots of questions there in Buffalo. It's going to be interesting to see what they do once they're in the postseason, but again, can't give them too much crap because they pick up a win, they're in the playoffs. So, and then now moving on to our quick kicks for Week 17. First up, we got the Dolphins who went to Tennessee to take on the Titans, and I liked the Dolphins. I wasn't quite as fins up as Callan, but one thing that I always thought, and I don't know how much I said it, but I know I said it at least once on the podcast, is we're facing a lot of bad teams in that 7-game winning streak. And to me, it just looked like they finally ran into a good team in this game.
What happens is they ran into the shark. The shark that is the Tennessee Titans. And, man, yeah, sometimes you got to face a good team to realize you're not a good team.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what happened. I think the Dolphins are in that gray area where they're not a good team, but they're not a bad team.
Yeah,
they're
definitely.
like in this like purgatory, like where they can't quite make that next step. And if they had started out the season a little better, they'd probably be in the playoffs. But now they got to realize, for as bad as we were to start, we were really good towards the end. We just need to bring it all together and put it together for 17 games. I almost said 16. For 17 games instead of 8 or whatever they is that they were able to win them by.
Exactly, yep. And mad respect to the Titans, losing Derrick Henry and staying this strong.
Mm-hmm.
Good on them. Next up, we got the Broncos, who went to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers.
One quick side note, Derrick Henry probably coming back for the playoffs.
That is terrifying.
Yes.
Coming off an injury, questionable, but still terrifying.
Right.
But we got the Broncos, who went to Los Angeles, take on the Chargers, and Chargers pretty handily pick up a win in that divisional matchup.
Yeah, the Broncos were missing a ton of players.
A lot of guys.
A ton of players because of COVID violate or protocols. So, yeah, the Chargers were basically facing a C team.
Exactly.
The only thing the Broncos were missing were starting Kendall Hinton at quarterback. I mean, that's the only thing that didn't happen.
He had like 2 or 3 catches at receiver.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
He had at least one, and I think a couple more than that. So
oh, well,
that's funny.
Good for him. I'm glad that guy's still playing because
he had a rough go.
I think, yeah, Ian Book is the only one that probably had a rougher go this season. So,
no, but yeah, Broncos put up a fight, but you could just tell they were outmatched. Next up, we got the Texans, who went to San Francisco to take on the 49ers, and Davis Mills had an okay game. He had some rough plays and some good plays, but overall, Niners pick up the win. Again, Texans just looked outmatched. It looked like they were facing a much better team because
they put up a fight for a little while, but then as soon as San Francisco got like 10 up, they just kind of were like, all right, well, we quit. It just seemed to be that way because they were fighting all the way through 0-0 with 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Trey Lance started at quarterback for the Niners, so
yeah,
and so they were battling, and then the Niners got up, and Texans just couldn't answer, and then they just slowly started to tumble down afterwards.
There was a play a la the Vikings-Rams game where I don't think the 49ers cornerback I don't think his progress was stopped before he fumbled and would have gave the ball back to the Texans. But I regress. I won't get going on that again.
Yeah, you're still on that. That was like 3 weeks ago.
I went very. Alright, next up we have I actually didn't mean to quick kick this, but it's probably a better thing that we quick kick this on accident. We got the Vikings who went to Green Bay to take on the Packers. And I just don't want to say anything about this. I'm going to go off in the next episode about some of the Vikings' decisions, so I won't go very far this one. Sean Mannion put up his best effort. I don't know why he was even on the field. The Packers dominated.
We sure did. I mean, actually, they had an early chance. It was only 6-0.
In the first quarter.
The first quarter. Well, right, but that's your opportunity to strike and get ahead. But instead, Green Bay locked up the number 1 seed with Arizona beating Dallas. Rodgers probably locked up his 4th MVP, even if he is immunized.
If Rodgers wins MVP, we're changing the name of the award on the show because he was not the most valuable player.
The MVP is the Aaron Rodgers award?
No, we're changing it to the popularity contest. Because that's all it really is.
I mean, he is pretty popular.
If you look at guys like Taylor and Kupp or maybe even TJ Watt and see what they did for their team, I don't know how you say Rodgers did more for his team.
I get what you're saying. When you say MVP, you're saying the most valuable player to that person's team.
Exactly.
And that, if you want to say it, that probably is Jonathan Taylor.
100%.
Because he is probably the most valuable to the Colts. Without him, they probably have lost 3 or 4 more games. I mean,
they're probably a borderline.
And they still have Marlon Mack and Nyheim Hines. So, I mean, that's saying that they would have played more, and they still probably would have lost 3 or 4 games. And that's not even taking anything away from them. They're still decent players. It's just... So, I think Rodgers should be the offensive player of the year. Because stat-wise, he is doing very well. Wins, leadership, all that. But is he the most valuable player to the Packers? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I would almost say Devontae, maybe Aaron Jones.
At the very
maybe
least,
Bakhtiari.
if you want to say he's the most valuable to his team, I'm okay with that. But you can't say he's more valuable to his team than Jonathan Taylor was.
I agree with that.
That's all I'm saying. So
even like they say Cooper Kupp should be, but you take Kupp off. I'd say it like this: take that player off that team. How bad are they? What's the difference in their win and loss record? With the Rams, you take Cooper Kupp off, it's not that far off. I don't think.
Probably not a ton.
Not a ton off. But you take JT off of the Colts, like I said, I think he won single-handedly 3 or 4 games for him.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
And they're probably eliminated without him.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
They're not in the playoffs without him. But yeah, I've already blocked the Vikings.
But from what I've heard, Rodgers is winning it. We do all that, but yeah, all the sources say
honest,
it's going to be Rodgers.
So. Next up, we got the Giants, who went to Chicago to take on the Bears, and Giants offense just can't do anything. That's all I'm going to say, because that's all I've said every week.
Mike Lennon looks like somebody who just clocks in, clocks out kind of guy. Like this is just his job. Like, yeah, I'm good at football. I guess I'll play, And so that's what you're getting. You're getting a player with no real emotion for the game, and that's why you're scoring 3 points a game. Now he's out, and Jake Fromm's starting next week, although he didn't do very well.
He didn't do much better, but...
Yeah, but poor kid, I mean...
props to the Bears, I guess.
Yeah, the Bears.
Next up, we got the Jags.
Bears win all the games that don't matter.
Exactly. So they'll win next week.
Yep.
Next up, we got the Jags heading to New England to take on the Patriots, and the Patriots dropped a 50 bomb on the Jags. The Jags only got 10 points. Trevor Lawrence didn't look bad. He looked lost more than anything. That poor guy, poor team. Pretty obvious.
I think that coaching might be ruining Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he might get the David Carr effect where he's super talented, but he's so shooken up by his first year that it affects him the rest of his career. It's unfortunate, but that might happen because they're playing that bad. Now, the counter to that is that Peyton Manning started off 3-13 and led the league in interceptions. So, in his first season. So, let's see how it plays out. But, boy, I don't remember Manning, though, having such the emotionally scarring that Trevor Lawrence has gone
controversy.
through. And the controversy. Yeah. My goodness.
Good Lord.
And, yeah, the Patriots, they dropped 50. Mac Jones, dropping 3 touchdowns, all that. You know what they call a 50? A Ulysses.
Probably $50 bill.
Yep. I just made that up. I don't know if they call it.
Is he on it?
Yes, he is on the 50, but that's why I call it a Ulysses.
Okay. Random fact of
the day.
Next up, we got the Lions, who went to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, and Seahawks looked like their offense should have looked this entire year. I mean,
right?
My God. They just absolutely dominated, put them with just over 40 on the Lions defense. And the funny part is, their defense also looked like they should have looked all year because they let that Lions offense with Tim Boyle put up like 25 or 30 on them.
The Seahawks finally played a complete game. It's just a little too late. But I do like how Amon-Ra St. Brown is starting to look like a superstar for the Lions. And they get some more players in there to build around St. Brown, get him a good 2 and a slot guy. He could be their number 1 for sure.
Ever since the early preseason, I had my eye on Amon-Ra, but I did not expect him to do this well towards the end of the season. So good on him. And then finally, we got the Bucs heading to New York to take on the Jets. The Bucs, of course, obviously winning, but in a not very obvious way. It came down to the wire. The Jets played surprisingly well. Zach Wilson played surprisingly well against that defense. But overall, the Jets earned the head slap of the week by not taking that field goal at the end. I get where their idea was about doing it, but overall, you take your field goal, you make Brady force the tie, and you take your chances in overtime.
Why is that? I thought we were doing Callan as a head slap. Zimmer totally buried his rookie quarterback. Isn't that the head slap?
I changed that.
You didn't want to do that? You didn't tell me or anything? You told me we were doing the Callan one.
Oh, I just changed it.
Oh my God. I'm out. I'm done. I quit.
Antonio, where are you going? Antonio. Well, check back in next week and see if he's back. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, don't forget to eat the W.